Hello. Good evening, all you soul-inspired, lovely people. I'm going live again in our group, and this will be another one that will get posted, I believe, to Facebook. We're going on that topic again of going inward and relating that also to our pillar of light. And your pillar of light is something you can activate and begin to work with your light body. I feel it's one of the main components to our light body and energetic makeups, if you will, and what we're connected to. And it's simple to picture, and we'll go over more of that later, I believe. Or I'll just, how about this right now? Let me see if I can pull up a image of the pillar of light. I know I have one on my book. Excuse me. It can be depicted in different ways. And this one, I don't like this depiction. But basically, it's like a cylinder. It can be depicted like a cylinder of light around you. If you spread your arms out, you can see, our arms are our height, right? So about 3.5 feet out in each direction. But you can expand it a little wider from the core of your body, and it connects all the way up to source energy and all the way down to the core, the heart of the earth. And you can visualize that as this crystalline white light, and it's the pure essence light that you are connected to, and that is within this field. And it's one of the main components and a foundational skill to work with your pillar of light and to purify it and clear it and clean it. And that also assists you in clearing your auric field as well. Basically, so nothing other than the purest of light can enter that field. It's where the truth resides, in that field, because the energy is untouched. Meaning it has not been imprinted by emotions or experiences. It's true to the essence of the energy. Similar to, well, the same as the Akashic record, right? That's energy. Akasha means pure. It's like the purest state of energy. That's what it means. It's the purest state of energy before it comes into form, like before it comes down and filtered down into our experiences of life. Let me see if I know I wrote it down a little more specific. Right? And because then we can get our dimensions of knowledge, right? So part of going inward is, when on some level that you as an aspirant or seeker is ready to receive higher knowledge and turn that knowledge into wisdom. And it's energetic knowledge or spiritual knowledge or higher knowledge that we are all connected to, and it's within us, and that we can bring into it's other realms of consciousness, right, that has information in it. But when we're working with the purest of energy, that's where the truth resides. So you may hear me talk about connecting with your higher self as well, getting that highest outlook where so you can make choices from where all parties are involved. It's for the highest good of everybody, not just yourself, right? And that's very different than going through your human experience where you're going to have a human response. You're still, in some ways, not that they're over you, but governed by human rules, right? Like if you do a crime, you're going to pay the consequences of that, right? Or if you do a good deed, you're going to feel and receive the consequences of that action, right? Which is different than going into your soul level, because your soul is already it's perfect, right? Your soul is already, there's a paradox that we work with. And your soul is already exists in its perfection. It's already exists in its perfection, right? Where the physical truth, so you have the soul truth, basically, or the soul perfection, and then you have your human existence. And your human existence is that physical form. It's where we feel suffering, we feel illness. We can create illness out of our own discord or lack of alignment to our essence, to connection to source, God, energy, whatever you want to call it. And it's through that experience that we learn different qualities that are within us, that we, according to some spiritual aspects or spiritual teachers, and we come down to learn lessons and experience life and to master those energies and qualities that are within us, right? But I feel in my own journey recognizing, oh wait, I was once ascended. My soul was once ascended, so I already know how to embody all these attributes. So now I'm remembering to embody them and let go of all the other imprints that were external, getting laid upon that my energy. My pillar of light got, gunked up with other things. So going inward is a practice of getting to know yourself, your true self, your essence. Part of that, I feel, is very much connected with your pillar of light. So you can go into meditation and begin to practice and visualize your pillar of light and energize it until you just become in it all the time. Because the more you work with it and you connect with it down into the earth, the heart of the earth, and you feel that energy come down through you and connect down. And you feel that response back from the earth and return into your body and energetic body. And you visualize that energy being energized within the pillar of light. And then you visualize it coming down from the cosmos, from source, all the way down into your body, and the same thing. And you begin to energize and purify your pillar of light. Some ways to purify that is through mantra and decree. And one way that I learned was using violet flame decrees. Violet flame is highly transformative. It transmutes and it cleans, right? We even see it in medical instruments using violet rays. So we're already naturally using it, and we know, like, oh, this cleans things, it purifies things, it's ultraviolet rays, right? It's very powerful. Now you have the ability to continue to work and commit yourself to your own practice and discipline. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. If you're feeling yourself contract from those terms, just breathe. Like, oh, discipline, commitment. It's this commitment to yourself, your own journey, your soul's journey, your own awakening, your own inner evolution, your own ascension, your inner ascension to embodiment and enlightenment in this physical body. And to reach those, at least at this point, states of, to be able to hold all of life within the frequency of love. And that's just a level. Okay, I want to remind you, it's a level of attainment in self-mastery with our energies and frequencies of light and color. Because we're human beings, H-U-E, man, being. We're color in physical form, being. If that helps you kind of go, oh, okay. So going inward is a really vital practice of self-reflection and contemplation, as well as keeping your energetic field clear and clean and being in the truth of what is, and the truth of at an essence level, at a core level. The more you energize your pillar of light, the less the external world impacts you. The less the external world impacts you, and you become more and more sovereign in your way of being. You're no longer seeking outside of yourself, because you're going inward and direct to source, direct to your essence, direct to your wisdom and knowledge that's within you. That's within you. Okay, so remember that as we're coming into these times and energies. I know I feel like I've been MIA all week because I've been integrating these energies that we've been leading up to with the eclipse and the full moon energies, because it's a very powerful time and very amplified. So some of you may have felt other things come to the surface for you, heightened emotions, anger, maybe having a hard time being around other people because you're feeling, I know for me, my sensory body, I felt like I must have gone up a level, for lack of a better term, like I raised in some way, because in my sensitivities, I was really hypersensory, like high sensory perception, right? I was a hypersensory, and I could feel the energy of other people more heightened, and that happens too with eclipse energy coupled with the full moon, because eclipses amplify. So we're also coming into this stage, as we're coming into May, another level of consciousness energy waking up to us, waking up within us. And so that means and to me, that's how I interpret it, is another influx of light coming into our physical body, which means, okay, something else is releasing outside of me, and I'm going to be asked to do some deeper healing for myself. And with this Scorpio energy, as I mentioned in one of the last videos, it goes deep. Scorpio energy is not afraid to go deep in the depths of itself and unearth what needs to be seen and raised to the surface. So I encourage you to celebrate those moments, as hard as it is. To celebrate those moments when, oh, this other layer to me gets to come to the surface, and how can I bring light to it? How can I transmute it and transfigure it? It could also be maybe you're witnessing other things in the world. I know for me, I needed to turn the news off, so I'm not quite up to date on what's been occurring this week. And because I needed to go inward. I needed to kind of not necessarily hunkered down, because being out in nature was highly supportive for me as well, but I rested my body, right? And I encourage you to go out in nature, because in nature it will also assist in fine-tuning and clearing your auric field. It'll recharge you. You can go into contemplation and meditative states while out in nature, and that'll just add to your experience of meditation and connection to the trees, the ocean, wherever your place that lights you up, go there. I know for me it's the beach. There's always those beautiful salty sea air and negative ions, and I like to cold water dunk. I like to be in the ocean, even if it's too cold, but at least my feet and my hands go in it, and then I do my own little ritual. So what going inward also offers is a reminder to you that you are already empowered just through the light of God that is within you. And part of when I coach some people, I say this phrase, it's to support you to be in body, in power, in soul. Because you need to be in your body. We need to learn how to be in our physical body. We need to learn how to master your power, your inner power, so you can be empowered in your life. You're becoming more sovereign in your spiritual awakening, in just who you are, becoming empowered, becoming enlightened, right? So as you tap into more of that pure essence energy, you start to take steps toward awakening the knowledge that's within you and that you have access to, and turning that knowledge into wisdom through your human experience, but bringing in your highest aspect of yourself as you go through that human experience and observe. You begin to observe your life with more neutrality and more, I'll say, acceptance of what is, and begin to expand your perspective and hold things with multifaceted and multisensory way, because your soul is multisensory and multifaceted, like you are multisensory, multifaceted. And so you yourself are learning more about who you are. And that can be surprising. For some, it can be scary to look at. But I encourage you to recognize it's a really important time to let go of the fear. Like, yes, acknowledge the fear, it's there, but continue to go inward, trust, deepen your faith, deepen your practice, and allow the fear to settle down. Because you're in your pillar, nothing can get in your way when you're in your pillar of light. No interference will penetrate it. You become impenetrable. It's like a bug zapper, right? And so the lighter you become and the brighter you shine, because people will feel it, you'll see it in your eyes, they'll see it in the color of your skin, it'll naturally draw people towards you. So my experience this week, the few times I did go around other people, a friend of mine called it, oh yeah, you're feeling more the vampire energy, right? And when people want to suck on your energy or take your time, and in a way that you can feel it drain you the more you engage it, right? For me, I describe it as like a needy energy, but it's energy. It's doing the same thing. It creates, if I engage it, I create the potential for an energetic leak within myself, meaning it's not symbiotic, right? The interaction's not uplifting me in any way, right? And so what occurred for me was I was feeling all these things, and I could feel it coming from the moment certain people came in the group. So this is where I encourage all of you to pay attention and slow down, hold your responses and go inward and pay attention. It's a very Gestalt therapy type of thing to do, to pay attention to your inner body, your emotions, what are you feeling, and then to just sit with that within yourself and recognize, okay, something's happening internally for me, and I need to pause and sit with it for a moment. So that's where your breath can come in for you. Taking those, calming the body. It's telling your body naturally that you're safe, because you are safe, right? And then don't engage these external things that are just going to kind of bring you down or add weight to your being, right? Because we've all experienced that, or we've all been that person where you're just like word vomit onto someone else, or these weird hooks in the conversation, and then it goes around into nothing, and it potentially leads to conflict, or just this kind of circling around that a loop that doesn't need to happen, right? Doesn't need to happen. So I was feeling it and coming, and I just chose not to engage the conversation. I listened a little bit, but even that was like, no, I'm not engaging it in any way, shape, or form. And I just moved along, and I just shared with a friend, I'm like, I'm just overloaded right now, which was really, that was because it wasn't about anyone else. It wasn't about the other person who I know is having a lot of personal things going on in their life. It was about me feeling overloaded, because my sensory was feeling so much information that I'm like, no, I can't hold this space right now, because I needed to honor the space I was in. And so I chose to go to a different area of the park and then walk the dog and leave, right? And because what will potentially happen to you as you are recalibrating with this new level of sensory perception for yourself, it gets in the way, right? You're kind of in a vulnerable state potentially as you're getting used to this new energetic state of your body, your being, and as you're walking through this time right now. So it's so important, as you've heard me say, is to connect and go inward and be in your pillar of light and meditate. Meditate. Because it's an opportunity, again, for you to go into higher learning. Higher learning. When I was sitting with this the other day, 2 cards came out of my deck, and one was Melchizedek. Melchizedek. Beautiful, beautiful ascended master. And that's what came out, higher learning. And the message on this card is you have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further your progress. And it's very true. Many of you, as myself included, and it doesn't mean I stop learning from other people, but I'm not seeking other people and other mentors out in the same way that I did maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago, right? I will naturally be drawn to where I need to go next, right? That inner calling of my soul, the heart, my spirit will take me to my next place where I need to learn from. However, the place to go now, to really deepen that practice, is to go inward. To go inward, connect with your higher guidance, your I am presence, so you can integrate that wisdom more into your energetic body and connect to source energy, right? Yes, guides can assist you, right? But you are now the one taking direction of your life to source. And coming through that place of source, through your heart, then that is now directing your life. Okay? And recognizing it's one with everything. That same energy runs in me. I am an aspect of that same energy, and you are an aspect of that source energy as well. And you'll begin to further your progress by going into your body. Inward. Inward. So I sat with that, and it's going to assist you in developing your innate qualities and gifts, as some people call it, gifts. I personally don't care to use the word gifts because we all have the ability to master all these different things, whether it's clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairsentience, all these different things that people get excited that they can do, mastering energy, becoming a healer, because all of you are healers. You don't have to have a practice of healing others or supporting them. I like to say it's facilitating someone that's healing facilitation, right? Because I facilitate the healing for others while I hold the space and assist it, but they have to be part of the process. You begin to be part of the process. If you're connecting with me here, then there's some level to you that you're taking more accountability and responsibility in your own healing of yourself. And you're letting go and expanding your beliefs, willing to expand your understanding of things, but also experiencing life through a different way and acting on that through love, through compassion, forgiveness of yourself and others, right? And situations. And being able to hold everything in its entirety in the frequency and vibration of love. Okay? And I witness many people are learning what that is, because we're breaking down old constructs and old paradigms of what was imprinted on our energetic field. Right? So many people think of love and they think of romance. They think of sexual relationships. But it's not that. It's not that, right? Because you have brothers, sisters, parents, nieces, uncles, and you love them, right? Teachers, that you love them, or just know. Or something that you've cared for, like I loved playing sports. I loved playing soccer. I light up right? So that in itself, if you're a dancer, a musician, whatever lights you up to this place of like, time stands still because I'm so present in what I am doing, that's where you're in it. You're in your presence. You're in your presence right there. That's where you start to see all the things play out. No matter what choice you make, then you see it. It unfolds before your own eyes. So this is how important it is to go into your pillar of light, because everything is there that you need. Because all of you, I know on some level or another, you're learning to no longer seek outside of yourself and trust yourself and have more faith in yourself and unlock your own wisdom. And it assists you in going into a higher energetic level of yourself. Right? Not of being above other people. Not, the ego here is very humble, and if you know, and I know for some and many experiences will occur that it will really humble you. And then you begin to speak differently, I find softer, but with more authoritativeness, more surety, more confidence, but in a totally different way. It's like the presence of you becomes felt as you walk in the room versus trying to hide in the corner. You become okay in your own presence. You become comfortable in your body. Your soul gets to expand a bit more in the limitations of this physical form. You begin to soften. Your muscles are no longer contracting. You can breathe deep and at ease and have flexibility. Your mind will be calmer and you are more at peace. These are the things that begin to happen, and then they become more sustainable no matter what occurs in your life. Right? I had this experience I'll share with you recently where a friend, well, an acquaintance really, from the dog park, his dog died that day. And he came to the dog park and he was totally in shock, and fortunately I was there with one other dog owner, so we assisted him. Right? But what occurred was I have one gentleman in shock, and the other gentleman had to process his own stuff, because now it hits close to home, like with your own dog or what you're going to help with, right? Because we're all connected. I was able to stay calm and focused in that moment, and I checked on the dog, make sure that he was in fact passed away, and he did. And stayed very focused with the owner because he was in shock. And then the other gentleman assisting, he was kind of a little on the stress was kicking in, right? That the fight and freeze a little bit, and then trying to make sure everything was okay. And I just looked at him and like, we're on the same page here, right? I was able to calm him down by just acknowledging what he needed and being like, yep, and then do the task. But what I noticed for me is my level stayed very even in assessing the situation, seeing what needed to be done, and then just being very present and in my presence, right? Nothing was knocking me off center. Okay, so the more you practice it, the more, and it's not saying you're going to be numb to life. It's not means you're not going to feel it, because I felt it. I felt the loss. I took the day to myself after, but it didn't consume me, right? So hopefully that seems clear for you. So another piece about going inward, right? I looked at the word when I was talking about this last time, and as I was signing off, and I looked at the word inward, and then I just saw it in two different facets. I saw it as ward, and broke it down, and I thought that was really interesting to all of a sudden see the word broken down into ward, right? And so this becomes, I feel, important sometimes to look at definitions of words and how they're used. And inward means relating. One of the definitions of inward is relating to mind or spirit. So when you go into meditation and you go inward, I have to sneeze, excuse me, and pinching my nose makes the sneeze go away. As you go inward, it's this familiar place. It becomes a familiar place to you. Many of us are practicing and remembering, how do I go inward? And most people I meet, when they first practice going inward, there's a little bit of fear there. There's some doubt. I don't know how to do it. What will I discover about myself? Right? And that can be very like, oh, I don't know. Right? And that's where sometimes that ego side, or because change is going to happen, when we begin to go inward, and our mind doesn't like change, it keeps us safe, right? And I'm not speaking the ego as a negative. It's just what is. It's doing its thing, and we learn to repurpose the ego. So you might hear me say higher ego or lower ego, and but as you learn to go inward, it's a practice. But you're going to this familiar space. That is you. And sometimes you have to allow the things to clear away and get through the muck, get through the thoughts as they race in and out. And then even the discomfort sometimes of the body. Am I sitting okay? Did I finally get to that still point where I no longer am in my body? I'm in it, but I no longer have a sense of where my body begins and where my innerness begins. All of a sudden that world is just one. You're just in this space. You're just in this space, right? And it's all for that purpose, to know the self. To know the self. And to move beyond a level of fear. And it becomes that inner sanctum for your heart and soul, that connection, that bridge, which I feel bridges our higher self and our where energy and matter meet, at the heart and soul of us. That's how I describe it. And then we have the body, where energy and matter meet. So you can begin to go inward, bring in some wisdom and knowledge as you do that. And it may not always be clear right away, because you're working with subtle energy. You begin to, it's an opportunity to pay attention to the patterns and symbols that the universe brings to you. It begins to show you, right? Like people start to pay attention, oh, I keep seeing numbers like 11, 33, 555, like multiple numbers. Like all day yesterday, it was multiple numbers, 1144, 1155, 1133. I woke up last night and it was 111. You know, and I just looked right now, it was 33 and 33 seconds, 33 minutes, 33 seconds on the clock. So those symbols start to become in your field, like you'll see them. It's like if you bought a new car, then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere, because now it's in your awareness. It's in your awareness, and now you cannot unsee it. And this is one of those things, once you know something, you cannot unknow it. And that's what happens in your inner ascension. Once you know something, you cannot unknow it. And then it continues to unfold. Right? But what you do with that information and how you are with that information that's the key. Right? Your higher self. So you move away from the drama. You move away from engaging that. And even you may even entertain it in a totally different way, where like I had a conversation with my brother, and And I really just hold the space and I laugh a lot with him. You know, because he even knows what he's doing and he's reframing it. And I don't feel like he was gossiping in any way necessarily, but he was sharing his experiences really. Because he wasn't speaking down about anyone, he just needed to share his experience, and then he's acknowledging some things about himself. He's like, I just can't tolerate certain ways anymore, meaning speaking poorly about other people. Like, so he called out some people saying like, no, you're totally tearing someone else down, right? So he was just sharing those experiences with some other siblings. And I could understand, because you know there's certain aspects when you know people, you know their good qualities and that they're working with, and their wonderful qualities, right? But I was able to laugh at it because I didn't need to feed it into it. There was nothing like, oh yeah, da, da, da. No, I was able to just laugh, and I'm like, no, I totally hear you, and you know, good. Sometimes we need to bring something to someone's attention, and other times we don't. So I'm saying this because you will learn to begin to find things with humor, or to hold them in a different way through love, right? And you'll use and begin to learn your discernment more on when to say something, when to speak, when to be inquisitive, or when just to simply listen and go, yeah. Because that breathing and laughter, it also, I'm not taking it into my body and being, right? I'm not taking it in. And that's what being in your pillar of light will assist you with. It just bounces off. It just bounces off. And as you go into this place of higher learning and connecting in and going inward, doing your mantras or decrees to support you, because mantra means transcend, or excuse me, mantra is to assist you to transcend. Ma means mind. Tra means to deliver, right? So why might you chant? Why might one person chant, right? It's to rise above or transcend duality of limited conditioned mind. Mantras assist you in transcending the limited condition of your mind. So one of the first decrees I used to say, or excuse me, mantras, was Om Manaha Shema. Om Shema Manaha. That way, I think I transposed it. But whenever I realized I was in judgment, I filled it with that mantra. Right? Many people will use Om Mani Padme Om, Om Mani Padme Om, right? So it gives you something for your mind to focus on and correct the judgment. And the mantra has, being in the language, the ancient languages have higher vibration. Has a higher vibration. I first began mantras in the Sufi tradition. That was my introduction to prayer and mantra as I was in a deep contemplative state in a silent retreat. And it was beautiful. It holds the vibration, that sound. This is when we bring in sound. Om. When you continue to do that, you feel it vibrate even through your body. Connecting to creation, connecting the sound of the universe, which also connects you to mathematics, to music, to the body, to sacred geometry of the body, to symbols, to codes that awaken within you when you chant mantras. They're very powerful. They assist in clearing the obstructions in your mind. and the potential like ignorance of the mind. And then you could come into the higher mind, the heart mind coming in. And when you use a mantra, I enjoy finding a good, I will find it on YouTube, or maybe sometimes I'll purchase music where there's specific mantra I want to work with. And then I'll put my headphones on and I listen to the mantra and I begin to chant the mantra with the recording. And I go inward and it amplifies it, because when you're in groups, it amplifies the energy of that mantra. And it begins to ignite within you. So even with the word Om or the sound of Om, I encourage you to try that as a practice. Find a nice recording that you like. There's plenty of things I'm sure you could find on YouTube. Put some nice quality headphones on if you can, and find a place for yourself. Or put it on your tablet or your iPod or MP3 player. And go walk in nature and chant Om. And then see how you feel afterward. And it doesn't have to be long. Do it for maybe 5 minutes. If you can't do it for 5, do it for an hour. I think that's something the Buddhists say. If you can't do 5, do it for an hour. And then eventually it gets easier where you can go, okay, I'm going to sit and be focused, contemplative, introspective, self-reflective. In Om for 15 minutes or 5 minutes. Just make time to be in the sound of it and feel it through your body. Feel the energy in the room that you, through your voice, the power of your sound and will, you will feel that. And be committed to your practice and disciplined with your practice. Not in a place that it becomes stressful by any means, because then you go into contraction. But just go, you could even do it on your walk. It's your routine. Do it in the way that feels best for you. Just be purposeful with it. Be with purpose and to take yourself seriously. And have fun. But your inner growth, your ascension, I find it to be a very personal an important thing to focus on, right? But it doesn't have to be hard. Okay, so just do it in bite-sized pieces. And it'll support you as you bring in, energizing your pillar of light, going inward. Use a mantra that you feel drawn to using. Om is very simple, or find something else. And put it to practice. Using ancient language will be in the one of those higher vibrations. So I encourage you to find that. Okay. And depending, who knows, you may already have a practice in place. Because this also too supports you to be in your light, right? I'm coming back to the word ward. Because when you are a ward, think about it, warden as a guard. Ward, you can ward off. You can ward off things, right? Ward off evil spirits, right? You can ward off energies that don't belong in your pillar of light. Okay? And so think about that. When you go inward, you activate your pillar of light. You're bringing in that light into your field. You're clearing out all that doesn't belong in there and only being in the purest essence of that energy. Bringing in that violet flame if you need assistance in clearing. Because what also happens, you begin to accelerate the molecules within your body in that pillar of light. in your pillar of light, you will begin to oscillate and operate at higher rates of speed in your physical body. And you begin to change your body on a cellular and molecular level. And that layer within the cells begins to thin. The energetic layer begins to thin and more information comes in because you're dropping veils. You're reprogramming your body on a cellular level by going inward, singing mantra and decrees, chanting, I'll say. Maybe it's singing for some of you. You're literally programming your body, or reprogramming your body, the memory, because our cells are memory. So as I was reading more about InWard and broke the word down a little bit, ward to guard, but there's also this definition in to guard, but to be in your light, acting as a guard. And I'm like, wow, that's how powerful you are. That's how powerful you are. You're learning to be your own guard, to be your own ward, your own master of your being. And that requires you to unplug from the external world. And I use the word unplug, right? So all of us are so inundated with technology and other forms of information. And what happens when we're just hearing all these other things, because we're already talking about how powerful sound is. So if I want to use sound to uplift my being, and bring in higher wisdom and aspects of myself, and so I can step further into my sovereignty, my inner freedom, my inner way of being. What does that say also about those forces that want to keep you controlled? To keep grasp and hold of your mind, because when you work with sound, you entrain the brain. The brain waves, and then you go into entrainment. You can go into higher states of meditative, relaxing states, and different brainwave states and techniques, right? So you hear that a lot with meditation. You hear people talking about gamma, beta, alpha, theta, delta. Different things, different levels of learning, relaxation, cognitive places, and then being like in these whole other state of being where you're just in it. You're just in that energy where no longer the body no longer exists in the same way for that when you get into that higher state. So you're practicing going inward. I had a moment like that. For me, I started to see it as, oh wow, I can astral project. This is when I could teleport myself to somewhere else. It felt like that's the thought that ran through my mind when I got to this state, and all of a sudden I saw and felt myself in Italy. I could taste the bread. I was eating these berries. I was just there, and it became so real. I was on the phone talking to my niece who was coming to visit, and then I came back into the space I was at. Because I just went to that, I believe, that delta or theta state. And then a friend of mine that was there, she was like, where'd you go? And I'm like, no, I'm in here having lunch. She's like, no, where'd you go? Where have you been? And because she saw it happen. My body was there, but I was not there, right? So that's just an example. Sometimes, even in our dream state, we go into a different realm within the dream state. That's a whole other realm. But it's just, we go into these different levels of our brainwaves through music and sound. And that experience, I happened to be in the middle of the woods training for my life coaching program. And so it was this beautiful place and supported by all the sounds of nature at the time. So that whole other level of relaxation comes in. Because plants have their own sound, and you can record it. You have to put little speakers on it, and then you could hear it. The trees, they all have different musical sounds. It's quite beautiful. Coming back to the polarity of that, those that also want to keep you under control pump out sound of lower frequencies and vibrations, or it comes through your technology. It comes through being inundated with information and just all the time your eyes and everything's receiving it. You could be at a rock concert and it just gets really heavy and kind of like darker, and like you feel the heaviness of it. It's kind of like, right? Because they're playing people that want to also manipulate and control your mind and what you think, what you say, what you do. They also know how to use frequency to do that. But when you go inward and you practice that more and more every day, you will begin to see through that inversion, that use of sound, that inverted use of sound. You will begin to notice it right away. You begin to see the patterns, like we were saying earlier, of symbols. The patterns of things, and being like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to go this way over here. I'm going to go inward, re-energizing my pillar of light, because you're also connecting with sacred geometry at your foundation of your feet, within the pillar of light, and it keeps you supported. It keeps you supported and safe, right? And the more you're in your pillar, the more you practice that, it'll become more and more at ease, because you'll eventually get to a place where you're doing it like that without, it's muscle memory almost. You visualize it, it's done. You just are using your pillar that fast. And as you first begin, it can take about 6 months minimum to really develop it. And that, of course, depends on you and how often you practice and where you're at in your own inner growth. And it prepares you for your transition of inner ascension. To go inward prepares you for your transition of inner ascension. So this is why you may hear me say you got to go inward, your pillar of light, and use your mantras. Use the violet ray or violet flame. The ascension white energy of ascension ray of purity. Visualize it. You will come also to your own practice with it, as these are just guides for you to head toward to your own enlightenment. It's a way toward enlightenment, because every time you go inward and connect with your true self, source, learning yourself, turning your knowledge into wisdom, you are on that path of light, path toward enlightenment, because you are moving towards something transcending the self, the human self. Doesn't mean you're not human, you're just transcending that experience, right? And removing the obstructions to your essence through your heart, through love, and higher. You begin to heal these misconceptions, right? So another card that got, when I first was preparing for tonight, another card that flew out of the deck with Melchizedek deck was this beautiful Mercury card. And look what that says. Open communication. Open communication. So as you go inward, you are opening communication. You're opening communication through your energetic body, through your chakra system, Okay, we're already feeling our sensory body, your aura and stuff, and all these things may be new to you, your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual body. And our aura, I feel, is infinite. There's more than just the 4 layers. But you begin to open yourself to communication as you go inward and into meditation practices. And this message from this card is get weight off your chest. Speak up with love and be heard. Speak up with love and be heard. And he also, it's beautiful, has the caduceus that he carries, just like Archangel Raphael is often seen with the caduceus, right? And for healing, and it's this balancing, it's that energy, and it's that balancing of masculine and feminine. It's that, to me, as I see it. Let me which deck was it? I'm going to grab the book on this one because there seems to be something in the message of the book that needs to come out related to, Mercury, and I did write some notes on him. It's a healing wand. It's a healing wand. You see it with medical industries and things like that, because you are going through your healing process too, your inner healing. Your belief systems are being healed and harmonized. Your way of going through life, your experiences, you're learning to harmonize those. And what I mean by harmonizing them, you're reconciling it and finding peace with it within yourself. And you're willing to also change how you walk through life and participate in a way that perhaps you haven't before, right? And so part of this too with Mercury and being in your own healing and bringing your own guidance through and trusting that as you become sovereign in your being, in your spirituality, in your practice, because you are spirit, you are of light. It's going to begin, if not already, be done with love, honesty, and an openness. In the communication, it becomes more of a divination, a divine communication, your divine will of communication, throat chakra, blue ray, first ray. It can come through art, it can come through writing, it can come through writing a journal. You can be very creative in the way you communicate, right? It's shown through anything that you do. We communicate with our body language. Am I closed off, right? Arms closed. Am I slumped over? Am I standing upright? All those are communications. Do I keep moving my leg, almost like anxiety, or I have to keep moving, right? As you begin to write or speak, like that gets the energy moving. As you go inward, that gets the energy moving and out, and you begin to channel that information through you onto the paper. It makes it physical, right? Like I have all these notes, and so even as I'm reading something, I take notes and more information comes through as I'm writing, and then connect the dots. I'm like, oh, that goes here, that goes there. And then it's like my mind, other information comes in. And I'm sure some of you have experienced that as you brainstorm almost, right? I'm going to brainstorm with my inner self because I want to know more. I want to connect. So let's brainstorm and have a conversation, right? Make it fun. Like I can call it, I'm just going to go brainstorm inside. Make it fun for you. And because you're opening the communication to divine wisdom, source energy, your own wisdom and divinity within yourself, which also means the communication of your body, your emotions, your thoughts, your physical body, your spiritual body. All those are different ways of transmuting or receiving and giving information that you get to tease out the knowledge of that and weave it into wisdom. Weave it into wisdom to bring forth that healing, that deeper healing within yourself. And as you do that deeper healing within yourself, it in turn begins to heal those around you. You don't have to force it for others. You don't have to force others to wake up, nor they will wake up in their own divine time. But you begin to just honor the space that someone else is in, because you remember that you were once there. And you're stepping into this whole inner way of being that is very neutral and peaceful and loving and filled with compassion. It begins to heal the causes of your distress. What stresses you out? Right? Whether it's money, friends, maybe you're someone that has to harmonize your natural ability of wanting to care for others, but it's causing you distress. So you begin to learn, like, oh wait, how do I have different boundaries with that quality? How do I bring that back into harmony so I'm not draining myself? Right? It's kind of like when we're interviews, what's your best quality? And oftentimes our best quality is also our worst quality. Not to, for lack of a better term, it's the one that also causes us stress, right? Like, I watch people do a lot of stuff, especially perfectionists. They either procrastinate or they keep going and going and going because they have to do it themselves. So they tell themselves that. Then they have to get it done all at the same time, this way and this, that. And I can feel the energy ramp up. And what happens is overwhelm, eventually. Overwhelm and burnout. When no one asked them to do it that way. But there's something within them that is perpetuating a way of being. Right? And I'm not saying don't do things in a quality way. I love things being done in a quality way. But it's kind of like a painting. At some point you just got to let it go and be done. Right? So pay attention to what's causing your distress. As you go inward, you can heal that and resolve that within yourself. Right? You're going to resolve it within yourself. You're resolving your human experience and the truth of your soul essence, your true essence. Right? You're in that paradox that coexist together. They coexist together but operate in different realms. But your soul now is coming forward to be in this realm with you more purposefully every day. Your heart. Okay. And remember, this is important for everyone. Communication is a two-way street. It's not just Source talking to you. You're talking to Source. It's not just the tree talking to you. You're talking to the tree. It's a dialogue. It's a communication. It's a relationship. It's a constant current. It's bi-directional. It communicates both ways. And now is the time, as many of us are becoming more into our 5-dimensional qualities, energies, ways of being, our hearts opening up. You want to create a different way of being in your life that feels more aligned with who you are and brings joy. And realizing, wow, I can create whatever I want now. And you're recognizing, oh, wow, that's happening faster and faster now because your body is speeding up. When you can hold more light, you have less density, and your body and thoughts actually speed up, and so does the response from the universe. And things will manifest in physical form faster. So this is where your thoughts and what you say become more purposeful. Because it's a communication is bi-directional. It's a two-way street. And as we've come into these energies in May, the energy has accelerated yet again. And it will only continue to do so. And with that, these external forces that want to get in your field will also ramp up. So this is where it's important for you, and it can show up in different ways. More drama, more people drama happening around you, perhaps more stuff in the internet and social media that you're like, oh, that doesn't feel good on my body, or it just made me kind of off a little bit. You got to pay attention to the lyrics of songs even, like, oh, I used to like this, I heard the words, and now I don't, right? Because that's how it gets in. That's how it influences you, right? That's how it influences you. So put your energy toward the direction, again, ward, right? Where are you moving toward? You're going inward. You're going inward because you are the guardian of your being. You are inward of your being. And so as you go into your pillar of light, nothing gets in there that is not of your true essence energy. The purest energy is only in that field that you get to be in, you get to recalibrate in, like a biometric chamber. And part of this communication piece, as Mercury has so lovely brought to us, is to hear clearly, right? To hear clearly and be heard. So you're not only hearing your divine self clearly, you're also witnessing the external world more clearly through a new lens. The more you go inward and connect, the lens that you see the world through changes. And now you just have another facet to see the world through. It doesn't mean you forget how other people's lenses are, right? Because you were once there. And you'll be able to hold that perspective in a higher way for yourself and for others. But you also, as part of that, is being heard, right? So as you are raising your frequency and vibration, you will also ask for the right language to come in so you are also heard, right? Because if I'm speaking in say I was an engineer and I'm just using all these technical terms and I'm speaking to someone that doesn't know that language, they're going to look really confused. They're not going to understand me, right? So I can ask, like, how do I put that in layman's terms, in the terms that someone else is going to understand, right? And that'll show up differently for you. Maybe you're creating new boundaries, and again, remember, it's not solely about the person understanding everything and where you're coming from. It's just finding that common ground of you're going to honor it and respect it, right? And some people may not, and others will, and you will navigate through that so you are heard clearly. And then also being okay with, like, hey, I get it, you don't like what my choice is, and I'm okay with that. Because when you're in the truth, there's no contestation. Like, no one fights it. You can't fight the truth because there's no other argument around it. So part of that is to remember to pay attention what you are surrounding yourself with from the external world right now, to unplug. And part of unplugging is to go to nature, go inward, and do the things that are going to help energize your body, keep your body clear. Okay. For some reason, I think there's something else I was missing. Let me check this thing on Mercury. For some reason, I feel like there's still a message in there. And we'll see if Metatron has anything else for us on to support your light body and going inward. Oh, Jesus. Mercury. Okay. Mercury's really good. Things. Okay, yeah, and I think we did just have, correct me, those of you that are into astrology, if Mercury was in retrograde, but Mercury is connected to the planet Mercury, and just know in Greek mythology, he's also referred to as Hermes. As some of you may know, but that's the messenger, right? The messenger. So when things are in retrograde, sometimes there's more, it's communication can be delayed or conflict, right? And I know there's a lot of things on the surface that had the potential to turn into conflict. So pay attention to that as you still are in these energies of the eclipse and full moon, and to go into your divine will to be heard. But to do these, remember what his message was, with love, honesty, and openness in the way you are communicating. You want to communicate from your divine self, your highest quality. You bring in your highest aspect. So going into that Gestalt therapy of breath, recognizing what's occurring in your body before you respond, right? This is how you learn to respond versus react. And sometimes no response is also a response. So sometimes doing nothing is the appropriate response. So know that. Let's see. And then so Mercury, you can call on him if you need assistance with that. On expression. Here we go. There's also these opportunities where he can assist in healing Mercury's energy. The energy, okay? Let's not over-identify that it's the energy that is going to assist you with your divine qualities, that energy that already exists within you, okay? In healing miscommunications. So this could be an opportunity for some of you that maybe have fallen out with family members or friends or work, where you can heal the miscommunication through love, through openness, through being honest, right? This is where that contemplation and self-reflection might come in handy for you to go inward, ask for guidance in what it is. How can I heal this? How can I be heard clearly? Show me, send me the words, send me the language, right? Just simple as that. It's a conversation. Yeah, and right now, the extended message is open all levels of communication now. Important messages, information, and insights are being shared. You may hear from an old friend or family member, or have an opportunity to finally understand a loved one that you've not had easy time with. You may be able to clarify situations where you feel you were not heard properly or misunderstood. Get things off your chest in a loving way, so that you can clear all the roads to love in your own life. And that is very key, because part of this inner ascension is like you are clearing the way for love to come in and to give love and to be love in action. Okay? And you're learning on what that is. And it will continue to unfold what that is. It'll continue to develop and grow. It's just, you don't just go, oh, that's what it is. Although you may have light bulb moments and pieces that fall in, I really invite you to celebrate those moments and go, oh, yay, okay, I got another unfolding of what that is. I have a deeper understanding of what it means now. But it's the depth of the understanding, and then it becomes part of you, and then it will continue to unfold and expand in its quality, okay, within you, and it becomes very felt by others. And this is when you develop that love and compassion, it ignites other people in their own healing. Some people will feel really good around you, other people, they're not ready, and they go the other direction. But your mere presence will ignite the fires of other people, okay, within them. Because right now we're having a very ignited time. I don't know about you, but I know the Kundalini energy has been very active, as well as my crown and higher chakras. That's probably why I also needed to rest a lot this week, and also do some light exercise. I needed to move the energy and integrate it through my body. And also remember, communication's a two-way street. It's not about being right or wrong here. It's about just communicating and having a dialogue and finding that common ground, and that you felt heard, right? And so sometimes I feel people have that misunderstanding that someone has to agree with them to feel heard, and they have to hear you a certain way. Because there's also that piece of like, know your audience, and it's okay that someone that you can say, you know what, I don't quite understand, but I'm going to respect what you're asking or saying, and you know, because that's okay. Not everyone's going to understand you, but if you become okay with yourself, because that's ultimately what this is, you no longer need approval from other people or seeking it outside of others. That even that ability to be heard, if someone can't hear you because for whatever reason, you know, because you're bringing in that wisdom, you're turning knowledge into wisdom, and just being like, you know, it's okay. It's okay. Otherwise, it becomes a distress for you, right? When you're like, oh, but it's this, and you have to repeat yourself, and then it's this loop that happens that you got to let it go. You just got to let it go and be like, you know, it's okay. I understand what I mean. I don't know another way to word it for you, and it's all good. We're all good, right? We're all good. So I'm just going to pull one card from the Metatron deck and just see if there's one more thing for your guidance on going inward and the light body for you. I might pull from the Sacred Geometry deck as well, but let's see what the Metatron deck has to say for that first. Let me just ask. Let's see. Pull a card from Metatron deck. Sacred Geometry deck. Okay. I'm going to pull from the Sacred Geometry deck first. And then, yeah, because you're going to work with symbols. Well, some of you will work with symbols. Working with Maclisa deck, and really a lot of, I find just our own ascension and our knowing your body more and how you're designed. We're all designed. Sacred Geometry is very key. And I'm going to switch decks here in a second. And because the geometry exists within you. I'm thinking of the Truvian man, and that I have a feeling that's what might pop up in that deck, but we'll see. So what I'm doing, I'm just clearing the deck and just clearing the space. I'm going to ask Metatron to come in, his energy in a little bit more as we connect to pull a card. And the reason why I bring in Metatron's energy, and he is one of many guides I work with for guidance, but he also assists in accessing he holds the Akashic record. He's one of the lords of the Akashic record, and he assists with accessing that information. And he also can protect and guard and ward the stellar gateway chakra. So only beings of light may enter. He verifies that is happening. So those of you that are wanting, that's what brought this in. Thank you, Metatron. Channeling, right? A lot of you get it very excited about channeling other beings. And it is exciting. working with your pillar of light and cleaning your field, making sure you have a guardian of your stellar gateway chakras that only beings of light may enter. That basically verifying who is coming in is who they are. Keeping your field clean, so no energies that are lesser than the being of light beings may enter your field, and you keep your field clean and clear. That is what prompted all this about going inward in your pillar of light. Yeah, okay. Even my voice is much more like woof on that, and sometimes working with Metatron, it can be very clear and direct, very clear and direct, and which I oftentimes like. Being direct and clear, it's just so much easier, I feel, than kind of being not wishy-washy, but a little like non-committed, afraid to say something. And frankly, I get reminded all the time in myself, like, I don't have time to be afraid to say something. However, it doesn't mean I don't use discernment. But it's just like my brother and I were talking. We're like, I don't have time for this crap. I don't have time for people talking poorly about another person. Like, no, it's time to be here for each other. It's time to be here for each other and take care of each other. But the part of that is taking care of you. So for those of you that are getting ready and being excited about channeling, you got to build your foundation. Because some of you are naturally open already, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, some people have had their psychic connection for a very long time, and clairvoyant skills and clairsentient, and whether they knew some of these things or not, or they hear the voices, and I'm not talking about schizophrenia, but guides, they hear their guides, working with your pillar of light and helping keep your field clear and nothing but beings of light, because you have to learn. That's a foundational skill right now. That's a foundational skill that you will take with you to keep your field clear, because you need to learn how to do it, hands down. You just need to learn how to keep your field clear. I assisted someone not long ago and kind of checked her field and said no, and gave her guidance in how to clear it. I helped her clear it. We did it together, but now she has that skill. So when she channels, she can go through her process and clear her field even before. And, because some of you may already be that sensitive where you are going to feel the energies around you, even if they're from other people, or if it's just another energy of spirit that's around you. You're going to feel it, and you have that power. You are becoming the ward you are master of your domain. You are the warden. Okay, you are the guard. You got to work with your pillar of light. Just do it 15 minutes a day, multiple times a day. I suggested this before, the morning and the evening. If you feel like you have to do a little bit of it during the day, do so. Do so. So just we're going to ask Metatron to pull a couple, give us some guidance here at the Sacred Geometry deck. This deck, for those of you, it's the Sacred Geometry Oracle deck by Francine Hart. And because I love sacred geometry, I got this deck. And just reading about the book is a wealth of information in itself. You can work with symbols and draw them, and they will activate within you. Of course, the Taurus comes, and the DNA. Okay, and the morning meeting. All right, let's see what we have here. The first one came out was the Taurus, and I love the Taurus. It's the toroidal field. And this, I really encourage you to begin working with this. Those of you that may already have been working with the Flower of Life may be feeling like, hey, I'm going to ask yourself which one is starting to resonate with you more, because each one leads you into another state of your own growth, right? Because sometimes the Flower of Life in some perspective is being like an inversion of that, becomes the toroidal field, the Taurus. So now this is where the magnetism happens, really happens, when you connect to the toroidal field. But let's see what that has to say. It's the Taurus. Because then you're just energizing, you're connecting the whole current. And then you're really in it. So not only is your heart's magnetized, because your heart has to open in this process. You'll be limited in your inner growth if the heart chakra energy and frequency is not open. That's just, in my experience, how it's been. That's how I've even heard other people interpret it in their own knowings. It became very clear to me, just the download of like, oh, it's a heart opening, it's awakening, it's an unwinding of things that limit us from being love and our highest quality. So first let me read the cards before I go to the book, because I find that's always, often, not always, often, let's see what the guidance that comes through in that is. So we have that Taurus, you're becoming more magnetized, okay? And so as you become more magnetized, so does your light, like who and what you attract. Sometimes, yeah, how should I say this? The bigger your light gets, people are going to see you. Other energies are going to see you. And they're going to be drawn to that, because being in the light is beautiful. It's powerful. It's pure. It's pure. It's like when I have a few people that are pregnant around me, and the light that comes off the baby through their body, that's the light we're talking about. People are going to draw to you. It's the closest thing to the essence, the pure joy, to that pure energy. It's untouched by the human experience to some degree. Right? So people are magnetized to that light, and they forget their boundaries. Right? Or they'll just go touch a pregnant lady's belly. Don't do that. Because it's their tummy. It's their boundary. It's their body. So as you become more magnetized, you have to bring in, and don't get caught up on my words when I say have to or should. They're not words I commonly use. I prefer not to, because everything's a possibility, everything's choice. Remember that. I'm just making suggestions, and you take what you need, leave the rest if it doesn't resonate with you, okay? I'm not here to force any of this on you at all. I'm just hopefully offering you some education, some guidance, some perspective that will also grow within you, because at the end of the day, you have your own choice. You are the master of your domain. You are working with your wisdom and what's being brought up through you and your body, and through your light. Okay, so with the toroidal field, it does many things. You're a field within a field within a field. So know that you have a toroidal field. You have that toroidal field through the heart, and that 3 chambers of the heart that are working together. The toroidal field through your entire energetic system. So imagine those fields and working together. Okay, it's like boom, 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 boom. And then even the earth has its own toroidal field, right? So it's all energy. So it's no different than a cycle within a cycle, a field within a field. Okay, it's all that. We're cycles within cycles. We're a field within another field within another field. Everything's connected and interrelated. But you are master of your domain. So pillar of light, armor of God also can help you and assist you in keeping your field protected and nothing getting through, right? So that helmet of salvation and awakening, the breastplate of righteousness, the belt of truth, the shield of faith, the sword of the Spirit, and the boots or feet that walk in peace. Armor of God. You can go ahead and search that if you'd like, and there may be different variations of it, and that's okay. If you want to reword it slightly, the intention is the same, but it still will hold the truth, the righteousness, the awakening of salvation, the faith, spirit, and peace. Those qualities that you're putting over energetically, your armor and your pillar of light will assist you, right? And you're keeping your crown clear, you're keeping your energetic body clear, you're magnetizing and now connecting. I really encourage you to begin to connect more with this symbol of the toroidal field. I'm just holding it up for you just to take it in. To take it in. And things will begin to accelerate and really begin to manifest more quickly for you, or has the potential to. So this is, again, a reminder. Your thoughts, your mind, your speech, your actions must be in alignment and pure as possible. And when you find yourself off that, use your mantra. Chant your mantra. You can say it to yourself and fill the space. Clear, cancel, delete, and then reset and restate your purpose again. Working with your light, working with the universe. And then we have the DNA, because also through these activations, your DNA is waking up and being unlocked, right? We have that double helix, and you see the strands are in the middle. It's also a ladder, right? So it's almost like if you pictured yourself, here we have that image again, right? I'll hold this up and see the background image. It's like a vortex energy coming in. But look at that flower, what it looks like a flower to me. It reminds me of my roses are blooming outside, and that's when as they open up, that this is the image that they look like. And where did I go with that? I lost the thought, Benadryl, I lost it. Steps. Everything has its steps. Even as the rosebud opens, right? It's opening. You are opening. You are budding right now. And there's this, like, it's a ladder. It looks like a ladder too. Like if you start to walk up the ladder, and you're in this vortex of energy as you walk up it. And there's almost like you can even shoot down, right? There's sometimes we make choices and it shoots us back down the ladder. So it's a symbol of evolution, perhaps, and things like that, and what's unlocking for you. But you can go into that deeper wisdom of your light, the vortex of energy, that toroidal field, because it's going to be magnetized. But also, what else? I'm going to pull the book on this. There's something else that I can't see it in my mind's eye right now. But it has to do also with your DNA. So your DNA is unlocking. It's like this ladder. And for some reason, I'm thinking of that movie Gattaca, the borrowed ladder. You're purifying your DNA. Okay, you can restructure your whole body through energy and mastering energetic techniques. And but there's something here. But you can do it in a natural way. You don't need anything external, because it all exists within you. You don't need anything external outside of yourself. And because you're changing, I said this, I think, in the last short video I did, your evolution. You are evolving, you are living evolution right now. We are witnessing the human evolution right now. Its next phase. Its next phase. And as you go into these higher frequencies of 5, 6, 7, we're becoming highly sensory. Highly sensory. Some people are becoming more telepathic. And you're reminded that this is a way we have been before in other lifetimes. There was other times before, as some refer to it, the fall, like Atlantean times, highly telepathic and in harmony with our energy. and our abilities that everybody has. All of us have it. So this is where I remind you, be humble. Be humble and mind your ego, right? Mind, like, oh, I could do this, that, where it becomes a place of, return to that place of chop wood, carry water. Like, yes, yes. But also, but I don't want to dampen your excitement. Still be excited, because it is exciting, and for some people it's scary and unknown, right? And you also have the power to say, no, I don't want to work with that Claire, right? Meaning some people, they don't want to hear the voice. It could be very off-putting. Or maybe they don't want to feel the energy, like the brush on their shoulder. That can be off-putting for some people. But you can ask and demand how you'd like it to be for you. You know, my agreement was only if it's for the highest good of the client I'm working with and myself. And it's been agreed upon ever since. And so anyway, DNA, I want to... Conscious Evolution. That is the title of this number card, 25. Conscious Evolution. Human DNA. I'm just going to read it to myself. Okay, perfect. I couldn't find the words, the genetic codes, because we're codes, the DNA's codes. So thank you for having me look at the book. So human DNA uses the pi ratio, and those of you can delve into the pi ratio, and you can also delve into the Fibonacci sequence and take a look at those on your own and what those represent, okay? Because you can learn to use those sequences. So in human DNA uses the pi ratio to form the wave that spins our genetic codes. Within the double helix of your DNA, the human energy field, we each have access to a hidden store of knowledge and wisdom called the force of holy light. That's just the first paragraph, the force of holy light. And that's what we're talking about, the purest light coming into your body, into your being, igniting you, keeping you clear and pure. And accessing your own, accessing information, higher knowledge and wisdom. Okay? Unlocking this information is primary study of many individuals today who feel that human potential and the ability to heal ourselves and the planet are encoded in this spiritual matrix. Right? And what did we say earlier? You have the power to heal yourself. You don't need anything outside of yourself to do that. Now, I'm not telling you, if you are currently under the care of a doctor, to stop seeing your doctor. That's not what I'm saying. Bring all your resources together. Do the things that you feel aligned with healing you. Right? Your medicine. So, if you're seeing a doctor, you continue to see your doctor, but trust your intuition. You can bring in additional resources like your pillar of light, your violet flame, other colors for healing, like the emerald green ray, different things, the purity ray. You'll know. You'll instinctually know. And if you're not sure, that's when you have that bifurcation of information. Ask, and you will see it in your mind's eye. You'll see it in your dreams. You'll see it when you close your eyes. Whatever it is that you need. And if you're not sure, that's when you call in your guides for assistance. Okay, but you're still bringing in your pillar of light. You're still connecting to your highest self. You're going direct. Okay, you're going direct. And the guides will assist you when needed. But you have to ask. You have to ask. Ask. You have to part of that conversation. And be open to how it is shown to you. Let go of any expectation and trust. Because it's not always going to come the way you think it's going to come. Or expect it or picture it. We presently know of 2 strands and 64 genetic codes in DNA. We're in the process of activating codes that will aid in the shift from 3rd dimensional, 4th dimensional, and I'm even going to say 5th dimensional or higher, into these shifts into reality. which is of the course, which is the course of evolution taking. Okay, excuse me, I'm tired, so I'm starting to, my eyes are tired, and so is my voice. So again, we're going back into we are evolving right now. So that is what's happening for you and everybody that is ready to evolve. We're shifting into different states of reality and dimensions or realms, right? And remember, all the realms and dimensions exist within you, but now you're learning how to embody the higher frequencies or in the higher dimensional realm. Okay? It doesn't mean you forget the others, because there's going to be other encounters. They still exist. You just aren't operating from that space anymore, but you still have the lens, that other facet that understands it. Okay? Knowledge into wisdom. That's what's happening as well. We're turning on the 10 additional strands of DNA, which including the present 2 will afford us what seems as the point of unlimited possibilities. Right? I want to focus on that word seems at this point of unlimited possibilities, right? Because almost sudden as I'm reading that, it's almost like this implies or potential illusion. So be mindful of the way you are receiving that information for yourself, and what feels right to you. While yes, I feel we have the ability to be, we are master of limits, right? As I heard a mentor of mine once say, we've mastered limiting ourselves, right? And now we're learning to unlimit. We're learning to master our freedom, our sovereignty, okay? And that looks different for everybody, right? Yeah, so the part that the emotions come up, the love, the compassion, the influence, the heart, we're going into harmonics, right? So that's the harmonics of the spheres as well. Remember, we're coming back to music. So for those of you that are drawn to sound therapy, sound baths, also that can support you in your integration, right? And I love when I get to work with sound with people and for myself, and because it's simple, it's beautiful, and it penetrates the subtle body very nicely and the cellular structure of your being, and can be highly healing in its vibration and frequency and the intention of the session. So there's sound baths popping up left and right, so I highly recommend seeking one out near you. I do private sessions for those of you who are interested, just a little, hey, that's a part of what I do. And it does show up sometimes through the Metatron color healing as well. I say because it's just fun. It's just fun. And that can be done remotely or in person. Or just go find you can even put some good music on and create one for yourself if you just want to have music. So, anyhow, emotions and speed and changes. Okay, yeah, because when you're in those sound baths and higher frequencies, and even your mantras and decrees, if those of you that feel like you're going to start singing them, that harmonics, it sets you in the harmonics, because a lot of times it's in that pentatonic scale with the 5 scale, where then it goes into different harmonics, right? Pythagoras, we're talking about Pythagoras here. The sacred geometry, again, music, connecting music to the spheres, connecting music to the universe, the stars, mathematics. That's all in you. So when you come into the harmonics of the spheres, that's what's occurring. But it's also the harmonic of the spheres within you, not just the universe, but you're part of it. Okay? So you may hear me say we're going to harmonize the body, right? It's about harmonizing the discord. You're fine-tuning. You are tuning your body, your light body, your fields that are within you, your subtle bodies. You're tuning it in so it can play beautifully. And then you know which qualities to raise and lower at the right time. At the right time, when to express them at the right time, and they work together. It's not just one quality, one ray working not at the same at one time. They work together. the cosmic rays within you work together, the elements within you work together, right? There's sometimes someone's very fiery and you can tell, you even describe them. You even describe them, oh, that person has a lot of fire, but it's like dangerous fire almost, like, oh, watch out. And then there's that other person that, oh, they have a lot of fire and excitement, but it's in this way that's controlled and mastered. It's not going to harm anybody, right? Because perhaps they have more harmony with the earth and water element and air, because they know how to express their excitement, their emotion. They can ground it in, because that's working with your pillar of light and going out into nature. It's going to assist you in grounding in and anchoring. Not that you're anchored, because there's this important piece that I like to describe it like you're a buoy, right? A buoy that's tethered, but you get to move around and you float with the tide and the waves. Like, it doesn't bother you, yet the buoy still floats. Even when you feel underwater, the buoy's still there hanging out, and it's all good, right? Because when you're mastering being in your being, in your inner state, okay, still tethered to this earth. It's no longer are we running away from ourselves, right? We're facing ourselves and then harmonizing what is out of discord. So then in that, it sets you free. That is what sets you free. Okay, the emotions of love and compassion influence the harmonics of the heart and speed these changes to our DNA. So that makes sense. As you're having that heart awakening, as many of us are having, we're accelerating our evolution and the DNA, and it's changing, it's unlocking, right? Each time, it's like you have the key. The higher, we said this last time, the higher your vibration and frequency you can hold, you get the new key to the codes. That's the key. The harmonics, the frequency is the key to unlock the new codes within yourself. New knowledge comes in and you turn it into wisdom through the experience of your humanness, through the experience of your life, right? And going inward. Okay? And you'll begin to relate to the external world through symbols and messages from the universe, whether it's through nature, through numbers, through just things that you begin to notice. You're going to have a totally potential different relationship with how you walk through life. And I say potential, but my own experience, I know it's totally different now from where I was 8 years ago to today. Even from last week to today, like, it's moving faster and faster. And that means the relationship with myself is also evolving and changing, and the relationship with light. Okay, even doing things like this, like, I never saw myself doing videos and putting myself, I always steered away from it because I didn't want to be in the public eye. And now it's not even about, I'm not being afraid, I'm not letting that fear of being public stand in my way, because the call to support others is far greater. The why I do this, the purpose of why I do this and have stepped forward is far greater than the fear of being public. Right? And I think we had a card last week where it was that fear of persecution, and I know that runs deep with many people. And we don't have to be afraid to be ourselves anymore, to be living through our essence and soul and heart. You don't have to be afraid of that anymore, because you just don't. Everything, and to live a different life. So many of us are leading and choosing to live different lives now. It's becoming the norm, right? So this is when you call in. If you feel like you're like, gosh, I need a little more support here with people that are going through a similar experience, that's where you call in, like, hey, God, Source, I'd like some more people I can have these conversations with in my life. And they will show up, and you'll learn how to discern what to say, who to say things to, and it'll begin to, your soul family will start to show up. Okay? Because I know some of you out there are like, oh, I can't talk to everyone about this, right? And it's learning who you can and can't yet, who can hold something, who can't. And what I mean by hold, who can have the conversation and be neutral about it, you know, and have a level of understanding of what you perhaps, and remember, it's your own experience. Even though I'm going through mine, it's you are having your own unique experience, right? But since I have also walking this, for example, I can hold the space for someone who wanted to talk. That's why I do the work I do. I can hold the space for them as they're going through, and I could guide them if that's what they're seeking, is just some guidance. And then all of a sudden awareness pops in, because I help people just guide them back to their heart and their knowing. And sometimes I even seek, when I need to have a coach or guide, I have my people when I have those little stuck moments too, where I need to assistance shedding light onto something within myself. So you'll begin to discern when and how often you need to do that. And give it time to integrate, because you have your own answer. And the more you open up to the Mother Earth and her own evolution, your evolution, and be in that frequency of love, the more that it'll continue to open up for you. This card does have a reverse aspect, but it didn't show up reverse for us. But I'm going to glance and see if we just need to have that brought in just for awareness purposes. Yeah, I'm going to read the reverse aspect, because some of you may be feeling this. If you have experienced a loss that feels like an open wound, you have closed your heart. Find a little joy in your life. Follow the perfect spin of the DNA. The perfect spin of the DNA. Okay, open your heart back up. Okay. It is a knot, okay, a knot, K-N-O-T. It is a knot that prevents growth and joy. Until that knot, untie that knot and re-enter the positive cycle of conscious evolution. So that is your healing again, right? Your healing, the inner knowing, right? The higher learning that Melchizedek's energy brings in for you. That you can heal yourself. So going inward will assist you to return to your heart and love, and bring in that highest quality, and bring in the joy, and be that higher perspective of what you're going through within that potential, that loss. Because it can also be a loss of yourself, right? As you grow, there's aspects of you that you are shedding, and that can feel like a loss. Sometimes people will have feelings of depression or kind of down energy. That's okay, but bring in the joy, because the joy will raise your vibration back up, right? And if you've had a physical loss of someone, what was this? I just heard this story today, and now it makes sense why we're here, sitting here. And I want to wrap up soon, because we're almost at a 2-hour mark. They had the birth of their second grandson. But the first grandson, something happened where either the birth didn't occur or something happened where the baby didn't make it. So the woman recognized she was living in the fear for the second one, who was perfectly healthy. And then she was guided. The person she was talking to guided the woman and she said, oh my gosh, that's right. That should be a time of celebration. Right? So sometimes our losses infiltrate the times when we should be celebrating, because our fear comes in, or that past experience comes in, but it's not true and in resonance with the current one. So it can lay over it can tint it or taint it. Bring in the joy. Remember the joy, and it'll uplift even your sorrow of the past loss, right? Because if we re-engage that past loss, that's where our pain turns to suffering. and we can potentially continue to perpetuate our own cycle of suffering. What I'm encouraging you to do, yes, you can feel the pain, but remember the joy. Return to joy so it doesn't become suffering and debilitating. So it no longer causes distress on illness in your body, potentially. Okay? And whether it's emotional or mental or it turns physical. Physical is always the last place we manifest in the body. Energy has to go somewhere. And so the last card was morning meeting. Hi Gus, I know it's time for bed. Morning meeting, number 17. So I'm just taking a look. Oh, there's these lovely trees here. And nature, it's like nature's waking up. There's this beautiful, it looks like a womb to me almost, like it's very pink in the middle and green. And then there's this beautiful sacred geometry of a circle and a diamond and another circle. And these like elementals, they're holding each other, or spirit holding each other, and then the owl is looking down. And then a rabbit. It's quite beautiful. Morning meeting. Part of me as I'm seeing this is like, how do you greet yourself? How do you actually literally meet your morning? And you can see the images here, and then the owl, and then the bunny, right? And it's like this beautiful winter time, but I'm looking at this pink. It's so warm, and there's even an image there. And how are you connecting to spirit in the morning? How are you in the morning? I think of the power of the medicine wheel, the east, the new beginning of the day. How are you greeting the day? How are you really nurturing yourself and setting your day on perhaps the right foot? The right foot. Pay attention to your emotions and how you actually get up out of the day, out of your bed from that transition of the winter time of sleep, right? It's like a mini death every night that we go into. How do you transition from winter to spring? Meaning your morning time, if you're going to go into the microcosm of the medicine wheel as a cycle of your day, the east, the new beginning, is the spring. Okay? Then you move into the activity of your day, which is the summer, and then you let go of the day, which is this as the sun sets. Oftentimes that's dinner time for people, and they're coming home from work or what have you, or their daily activities. Then you're letting go of the day, you're checking in with others as you move into the north, which is the winter time, as you're getting ready for to go into your cave of slumber, right? And there's still a lot of activity in the north. So that's how you can look at the medicine wheel during your day and break it down. So this is reminding me, how are you beginning your day? Are you greeting the people in your life that you live with, your animals, even your home, your bed? They're all living, breathing, they're all energy, and they're felt. Are you doing it with warmth and nourishment energy? And look at how the trees are also entwined, and it's like everything's embracing each other. Everything's working together, and it creates this beautiful portal. That sacred geometry that's running through, it just looks like this portal of energy, and you get to be welcomed into the day, or welcome into the morning, in that beautiful pink color that's there. It's just radiating, and it's cared for. It's cared for, like you are cared for. It's like reminding, like you are cared for during this process. Meet the morning with that gentle embrace. As I'm looking at, the hands are gently on the face of the other, and the other arms are gently around the other person. And how might you hold yourself so gently and nourishing and loving, right? That's love right in there. It's just this love that's radiating through, and it's like being observed, right? It's like this beautiful container of your life and of your spirit. And this gentleness of like, I see you. I see you. They're looking deep into their eyes. And it's that namaste. I see the light in you is the same light that is in me. Right? And I really encourage you to not use that so hasty, right? Like truly feel it. Sometimes we learn things and then it just becomes the saying. Kind of like, how are you today? Fine, thanks. There's nothing behind it. Oftentimes. That happens, I feel, when some people will say, oh, I see you. And I just, and because I'm sensitive to the vibration, and I know when it's not that. I know when it lacks the sincerity of its true essence in that saying of namaste. I see the light in you as the light in me. Right? And someone, I don't remember who, it doesn't matter who, then they say, oh, I see you. There's something missing to me in that statement when it's like, oh, I see you. In the way that it was done. And for me, it isn't, I have to hold it the same way I do. I just hold that statement of namaste, and I see the light in you with reverence. These two beings that are shown in here are holding each other with such reverence and love. In a way that is often so rare to experience. How might you hold the day? How might you hold yourself in such reverence as you greet the morning? That's all I have for you this evening. Oops. I'm Gina Lobito. It's Soul Inspired Reflections. And if you enjoyed this video, for those of you watching this on YouTube, please feel free to like and share the video. I have so much love for all of you on your journey and those going through the awakening and ascension process, because it is a process. And keep going and take care of yourself. And I'll see you next time. Much love to you.